Okay, so interesting. My talk title feels like it's a little odd for today. So I'll ease my way into it. How about that? So this is December, and what we've been talking about this month is the art of presence, right? The art of presence. And last week I talked about how I am approaching presence through different lenses, and there are three of them, right? So there's this idea of divine presence, that's the capital P presence, that talks about the divine, that talks about spirit, God, source, creator, whatever name you want to give it, there's that presence that we refer to, right? Capital P presence, that is everywhere present, everywhere powerful. And then there is our own personal presence, like our own personal, I don't like the word charisma, but I'll use it for lack of a better word. So there are our own personal way that we show up, the ways that we inspire, engage, motivate. And I talked about how my executive coaching practice for many years was focused exactly on what's called executive presence or leadership presence. So helping leaders show up in ways that were influential and engaging and inspiring, right? And then there's this third way of presence, which is about literally physically being present, right? Being in space with something, right? Being right there with something, right? And that's another way that we talk about presence. So there's sort of these three ways that we talk about it. And today my talk focus is on how do we have presence or be present when life is hard. When life is hard, because as much joy as we have during the holiday season, some of us, and as much delight in the happy music and the cheerful music, the holiday season is not a happy time for some people. For many people, it's not a time that feels as easeful and as light and as cheerful, right? And certainly right now, with all that is going on in our world, we woke up to or went to bed last night hearing there was another shooting at Brown University. And it was heartbreaking to see that there was at least one of the students had been in the Parkland shooting as a child and was at Brown University. And there's another student who had been at another school where there was a shooting, and now they were at Brown University, right, thinking that they were safe. And so, when we look out in the world, there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on to rattle us, to touch us, right? Sometimes to shake us up. There's a lot going on. And so how do we be present during times like these when it's turbulent, when there appears to be chaos, where these things that are senseless just keep happening over and over and over and over again, and in some ways we're in this loop of doing things, right? And so how do we be present? And so before I even talk about how we're present, I also want to talk about what happens many times is when we are faced with difficult things, hard things, we're facing a diagnosis, we're facing a business falling apart, we're facing the end of a relationship, right? We're facing these hard things in our lives. Many times we want to run, or we run, right? And that running may look like, I'm just going to binge watch Netflix until I get what I call a Netflix injury. So let me tell you what a Netflix injury is. I may or may not have done this. So a Netflix injury is when you have laid in one position on your sofa so long, binge watching, right, that you have like a sore shoulder or something like that, right? That's what it is. So these are the ways that we run. I'm just saying like a friend of mine might do that, right? Right, so binge watching, right, overeating, over-drinking, over-imbibing, like these are the ways that we run away from difficult things, yes? And then there are the ways that we run away spiritually. In our teaching, we call it spiritual bypass. Spiritual bypass, right? So instead of dealing with the hard thing that's in front of us, we bypass into toxic positivity. Oh, I'm fine. I'm great. Everything's great. Everything's perfect, right? God is all there is. Yeah, this horrible thing's going on, blah, 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 right? This sort of fake kind of positivity that is not anchored in truth. We're just trying to whitewash or wash over what is actually happening right in front of us. It's a form of running. And the thing that's incredible is that in times, or ironic, is that in times of deep hardness, when we're in that hard place, that is the time we need to be most present, not run away. Running can also look like abandoning our spiritual community and ourselves, right? So we begin to isolate and we don't come to church, we don't come to class, we don't do our things, we don't meditate, right? We abandon ourselves in our spiritual practice. We run from community. When things are hard, you run to center. You run to your practice. You run to your community. You don't sit in isolation because it just gets harder and harder and harder. Yeah? So these are the ways that we run, and we run because that hard stuff that comes up, whether it's prompted by the holiday season. You know, the holidays can kick us into so many things, right? Like old family wounds, old family drama, old stuff comes up, especially if you're going to have to see or spend time with your family, right? Some old stuff can come up about, not being good enough or whatever the dynamics were in your family. The end of the year can also bring up a lot of, whoa, I thought I'd be further along by now. I thought I'd be in a different place by now. I thought my life would look different by now. I started out in January, and I thought, sure, with my vision board and my this and my that and my blah, 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 and I thought I'd be somewhere else, and here I am right back where I started from. It feels like that. Can any of y'all relate to what I'm saying here? Yes? And so it can be a difficult time of year, and I'm saying to you, do not run. Do not run. Do not run away from it. Right? What is needed now, what is needed when things are difficult, whether it's our individual lives, whether it is the world outside of us, is we have got to do a couple of things to be present to it. So one is we have to be aware, right? We have to be aware, meaning we wake up, right? Wake up, consciously awake, consciously aware of what's happening externally, what's happening internally, right? Waking up to what is going on. And then you companion that, you pair that with paying attention. That means you're focusing your awareness, that awareness that you have, you're now focusing in on something, right? And so being aware, being conscious and awake, and then paying attention is a powerful place to start to deal with difficult times. Because here's 3 moves. As a coach, I'm going to give you some moves, right? So here's 3 moves you make to be present during difficult, hard times. So one is you got to face whatever it is. You have to face whatever it is, right? You have to face whatever it is. And here's what I mean. I mean you're observing it, not absorbing it. Right? Because what happens so many times is that we see something that's going on, or we see something that's difficult, or we see some pain in front of us or pain that we're experiencing, and we tip over into it. Right? We tip over into it. My mom says we set up camp in it, right? Versus just keep moving, right? And so what I'm inviting you into is to face the hard stuff. You have to observe it, not absorb it. Right? So you're witnessing it. That is a powerful place to be. It's called witness consciousness, where you are so anchored in the divine presence. You're anchored in that which is unshakable, that which is unstoppable, and you are watching or looking at or observing something that's happening, but you're not absorbed by it because you are absorbed by spirit. Right? You are anchored in spirit. And so that is the first thing, is that you've got to face whatever it is. If it's a diagnosis, if it is a life transition, if it's a job that you've lost, or a business that's not going well, a relationship that is over, whatever the difficulty is, you have to stand and look at it. Right? You have to stand and look at it. And standing from that place of observing, you then are able to do the second move, which is you got to tell the truth about it. The capital T, truth. And here's what we know in our teaching. We know that we observe these things in the world, right? We observe these different occurrences that are happening, but we know that back of the appearance is the divine. We know that there is a power, there is a presence, there is a life, there is an intelligence that cannot be moved, that cannot be stopped, that cannot be altered. And that it exists, it is eternal, it is infinite, and it exists no matter what is happening in the world. It is more powerful. And what I suspect is that each of you in this room, you're here because you have had this experience at some point in your life, somewhere, where there was a way made out of no way, where there was a door opened, where there was a possibility that occurred, or something that shifted or happened, synchronicities that happened that let you know there is something greater than me. Right? There's something greater in the world. Yes? And so that is the thing. We must be able to look at whatever it is and then tell the truth about it. One of my favorite quotes from the Bible is Psalm 139, and it says, "Where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, you are there. Even your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me." Right? That's what Scripture says. God is everywhere. No matter where we are, no matter where we choose to be, God is. And so we stand and we look at the facts, we look at the world, we look at the shootings, but we call the name of God. We call the name of truth. We see and work to see God at work back of the appearance. Because even in the horrible things that happen, there are angels unawares. There are things happening that we don't see. There are people who were saved, who were covered, who were guided, who were directed. There were people who helped others, right? Became an angel to someone else. Yes? And so it's really about how do we be in this world but not of it, right? How do we be in this hard stuff but not of it, not tipped over into it? In religious science, Ernest Holmes says, "I live in the faith that there is a presence and power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways I could not even imagine." I live in that faith. I know that this presence is all-knowing and all-power and always right where I am. And when we know this, when we're anchored in this, then we can look at the world, we can look at the hard stuff, and we can then call it by its true name, which is God is here. Even though I may not see it, I am invoking the presence. I am calling it forth in this situation. I am calling forth miraculous happenings, miraculous healings. I am calling it forth by seeing and claiming and naming and standing in the absolute truth, by telling the truth about it. And then the third thing that unfolds from that is whatever it is you're going through, when you stop running from it, when you actually face it, when you actually tell the absolute truth about it, you then have victory over it. You then have victory over it. Because here's the thing, if you're running from something, that which you're running from has power over you. It's the tail wagging the dog, right? It's the tail wagging the dog. If you're running from something, that thing has power. It stops having power when you face it. It stops having power when you see the truth back of it. Yes? And right now, what's happening in our world and many of our lives is the tail is wagging the dog. And I use this term a lot with my clients for whom I'm not doing spiritual work, sort of. It's called executive coaching, but you know. And many times I'm working with them, and what's happening is in their lives, the tail is wagging the dog. Their schedule's running them, their kids are running them, their spouse is running them, their job is running them. All these demands are running them, right? Versus them being in the driver's seat, right? Being anchored in something stronger, something more, something that's solid, being anchored, and then deciding from that place how they're going to navigate. Yeah? And for so many of us, that happens where, right now particularly, where it's like a whipsaw of news all the time that's shocking, right? Or there's all this news that's always bubbling up, right? And it's one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And if we don't get in the driver's seat, then we will be led around by this stuff, right? We're completely off our power center. And so it is so important to get in the driver's seat and claim victory over this stuff. It's like, yes, I have this diagnosis, but what I know is that God is all there is, and God is working through the doctors, God is working through the medication, and I am claiming the victory over it. I'm claiming healing. Or yes, this relationship is not working out, but God is love, and God is expressing as love as so many people in my life that I am held up, I'm buoyed up as I walk through the dissolution of this relationship. right? Or, yes, my business has fallen apart, or my job I've been laid off. I've been laid off. But what's true is God is your source. God is the source of all that is. God is abundant. Abundance is your birthright. And so abundance is moving through different channels. One of them was your job. And when that disappears, God knows how to find you, knows where you live, right? Knows what skills you have because it created you. It created you uniquely. It knows what you can do. It can find you your next job. It can find ways to bring resources to you because it is the source moving through these other channels. And so frequently we think that the channel is the source, and it's not, right? We confuse the channel with the source. The job is a channel. Source has a myriad of channels, infinite ways it can resuscitate your finances, right? Or your career or your life. Are y'all following what I'm saying here? Yeah? So this is the time now. We're at the end of the year. And there may be people in our lives, maybe we're having a joyful experience of the season, but there may be people in our lives who are not, right? And we can do the same thing for them. We can know the truth for them. Even if we don't say those words, we can pray for them. We can know that God is taking care of them. Source is providing for them, right? And we can do and move in ways that feel compassionate to our hearts, whether it is to provide gifts or bring someone over for a meal, whatever it is, we can allow Spirit to guide us in how to be compassionate with those individuals, right? It's a difficult time for some people. And we have tools, right? We have tools. And so I'm going to share with you a couple of things I do when I am in a difficult season. One is I completely saturate myself in truth teachings. Now, you know that I usually am not saying things about social media that I really like, but let me tell you what I do really like about social media. You can access so much information that is powerful and transformative for no cost, right? There's this thing called YouTube. Don't know if you've heard of it. And on YouTube, there's all these different, now there's like AI channels for all the spiritual stuff as well as, people channels. So if you are having a difficult time, or when I am having a difficult time, I saturate myself in truth teachings. I literally turn YouTube on my TV and on my iPad, and I have Michael Beckwith playing, I have Abraham Hicks playing, I have Neville Goddard playing, I have Florence Scovel-Shinn playing. I just let it play on a loop. I sleep with it on. I sleep with meditations playing when I'm sleeping. Right? I saturate myself in the truth, letting it just play in the background, right? Just letting it play in the background. I'm not sitting like this, but when I'm working, it's just playing in the background because it helps bring my frequency up. It brings my vibration up. It helps lift me up out of despair, out of whatever the feelings are, right? Because I go through those same things. Right? I go through those same things. It is hard launching a ministry. Let me tell you, I'll talk about that at some point. Woo, it is hard, this is not an easy thing, and it is such a walk of faith. This last year of this ministry has been the biggest spiritual class I've ever been in, right? The biggest spiritual class. It has pushed every button. It has brought up every feeling of unworthiness. It has brought up every single thing that I thought was healed has come up in this last year, right? It has been intense, yes, and it continues to be intense. And so I have to look for ways, how do I navigate through this? Because y'all know when I'm standing here talking about this stuff, I'm not telling you what I think. I'm not in my head telling you. I'm telling you what I know because I've done it, because I've lived it, right? And so I'm telling you, when all this stuff is going on, just turn on YouTube and just let it play on your phone, on your device, and let it play and let it play. And what'll happen is, just like when you have the news on in the background or whatever, and then all of a sudden you wonder why you're feeling like the whole world's coming to an end and you need to drink, right? Right? Because it's getting into your subconscious. You just flip it and put something positive on, and it brings you up. And you all of a sudden you'll notice, oh, like you're energized, you're feeling much better. So that's one thing. Get yourself saturated with this stuff. The other thing is come to the center. This is not a time to miss your spiritual community. This is not a time to not be here on Sundays, right? And y'all know, I'm not you got to be at church on Sundays. I'm not trying to call people up and be like, where are you on Sunday, right? I mean, you all know me, right? I can barely answer my email, right? I'm not trying to micromanage you coming to church. But here's what I know. It's not from a judgmental place. It's not from a dogmatic place. It's from a place of being in a vibration of people who are like-minded, who are going to lift you up, where the energy, the music is going to be healing. The message is going to be healing. People are all in here together in one accord, right? And we're all very different. Look around at this community. It's a wide variety of people. God is expressing in a multitude of ways here. No two people in this place are alike. Right? This is not a homogenous group of people, but we're like-minded in our understanding of this teaching, of our understanding that there's something greater for us, that there's a power for good in this universe, and that we can use it, and it uses us. We understand that. We know that. We're here for that. So that is the other practice. Get thee to your spiritual center. Right? Do not isolate. Do not be out there on your own. Plug in. Get yourself recharged, and then go about your day. Right? Go about your week. And as we develop more and more and grow more and more and have space, we'll have classes and other things that happen. Right now we're renting this space, so we're here on Sundays, but we'll have other things where you can plug in or things online where you can plug in. But these are the ways that you begin to face it, tell the truth about it, to win victory over these very, very difficult times. Yeah? All right. Are y'all with me on this? Yes. Can we get through this season? Yes. Oh, yeah. Can you be a blessing to others? Be a blessing to others who are challenged right now. Yes. What did you say, Rosanna? It's leaning in your direction. Yes. Absolutely. Okay, let's turn within for prayer, y'all.